All right, welcome everybody. I know most of us are working on some of the things. I had some conversation around resume and some other things. Don't forget, I think next week, when is there's a holiday coming up. There's a day we would not be. There's a weekend we're not coming. I think next weekend, if I'm right. Let me double check. But is there a holiday next weekend, right? Let me double check. U.S. holidays. I know we have one. I believe September 2nd Labor. Okay. So we have Labor weekend off. That will be next week, Saturday, Sunday, we are off. Then we resume the next Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesday, I believe. So we meet on this Wednesday, but we're going to be off on this coming Saturday and Sunday. But that does not mean we would check out our work. Keep meeting, keep doing your thing, revise. It's nice to use that week to kind of catch up. Folks that are traveling for Labor Day, you can use that to, enjoy time out with family and all that. All right, cool. So, yeah, Labor Day, yeah, next weekend. So just be mindful so you don't show up. Well, if you show up, we'll be happy to see you, but you might just be hearing Skillweed song. All right, cool. So what we're going to do now, real quick, I actually just forgot about it, was data security. For some reason, I thought because we've done security. But the nice thing, whatever you see in data security assessment is similar to what we've done in security with all the other framework. But I still need to touch it. The nice thing about this one is the security document you would see me use was used for a Fortune 500 company. So we put this together for this company then, and of course we sanitized it. So I just, okay, you know what, this would be good to just show us so we can use it as a template some of the guidelines they adopted also. Always remember again, I had somebody in a group which I like mention, don't forget, yes, you're not going to tell an employer that, yeah, I use ChatGPT to do the work. No, it's a tool you use to make yourself efficient, right? Always remember, take the time, look at the Excel. That's where you're doing your analysis, your questions, your, review. That's the work. The reporting side is just helping you to summarize and make it easy to flow. Ultimately, to me, I think 80% of the work is done. Now you can now customize to your own environment. Because what I have there, I don't care what template I have that my company is using. That is a good guide to start with anywhere I go because I already have an idea of what the issues are. It has summarized it. Whatever your template is, I'm just plugging and playing because I know what are the things I'm going to plug in there anyway. So it makes my life easy and sweet. It doesn't matter. I don't care what your template is. I have my guide. I've seen my own internal draft and I'm just plugging it into your own template. That's all. So it's awesome, man. You know, for some of us that have done this in the past, these are things that took many days, consolidating those information takes a lot of days. Then, sometimes a week, full week, just and I'm talking about between two people, consolidating your side, my side. We are putting it together, then coming up with sometimes 2 weeks if it's not urgent. If it's a very urgent deliverable timeline, with maybe a week, but two people, right? So it's amazing what our life is right now. If you know how to keep yourself efficient. All right, let's take one more thing. Then you all have time, whatever time you're meeting, still do this. This is data security. I'll quickly touch it from a perspective of um, the PowerPoint. Then you guys can do your magic with the assessment side. So I'll do it for like 5 minutes. Then you guys work for like 15 minutes. We wrap it up. Maybe on Wednesday, I kind of adjusted. I was thinking I would touch GDPR, CCP, and PIPEDA, but I covered. Oh, I did GDPR already. But CCP and PIPEDA, I would focus on that on Wednesday. But today, let's talk data security so that it will be data governance, GDPR, data security for today. All right, let's go. All right. This one will be straightforward because we've touched our life has been security all along anyway. But because sometimes some company wants you to focus on data security, because of that, I just thought it makes sense to talk about it. Of course, like anything else, this is the protection of those digital information from unauthorized access, theft, or loss. And we use practices like encryption, access control, secure data management. The goal is to ensure confidentiality, integrity, and availability of our resources at the end of the day. Access control, I know hopefully I'm not beating a dead horse. We've been talking about this a lot, but it will keep showing up across the board, right? Role-based access, implementing principle of least privilege, multi-factor authentication. All of this will fall under the access control model. Encryption, we can agree, we use strong encryption process, and it's really process of converting data into a coded format to prevent unauthorized access in general. A popular one use AES 256. It encrypts data both at rest and data in transit in general. So when you send email or database information, if it's sensitive, definitely we use encryption. For those of us in the healthcare, remember when we send any PHI or even PII, we always send it through an encrypted, main, either through email encryption or file transfer protocol encryption, whatever it is. Data masking. This is a way of hiding specific data within a data set. So a good example will be masking credit card numbers in customer service databases. So we mask it, we make it something that you cannot easily just, understand or steal. And sometimes we use dynamic data masking. So when even in real time, you just see that it's dynamic, it's changing all the time. So you can't really hold it or place, understand the numbers itself. So it's a good mechanism to prevent any theft. Data loss prevention. Everybody on this call, sometimes some of you have called me and said, hey, I'm traveling to Europe, I'm going to Africa, I'm going to Middle East, and I want to find out if I go work from there, nobody will know, blah, blah, blah. The answer is we will know if we want to. That's a simple answer. So what I tell people is make sure, understand what the implication is. If you build trust and equity within your team, I have team that when they travel, if it's within a month, I have no problem most times because it's within our guidelines. So I can make a decision as a leader to say, okay, within 1 month, you don't need to make a formal report. If it's more than 1 month, then you need to make it formalized. IT needs to know. But if it's within 1 month, your manager is aware, fine. Some organization will not allow you that leverage because of the sensitivity of the information. If you work for the Department of Defense or for certain financial institution, insurance institution, and you travel to certain location, it would trace it with geolocation. Your manager will call you and say, "What's up? Where are you working?" And you tell them, "Oh no, I'm working at home." They know. The worst part is if you download large files, we can track it so easy because most of the document has been classified. So when certain documents are moved, because the classification is there, the data loss prevention tool would say, oh, confidential information sent. So when you are leaving a company and you're sending email to yourself and you're sending data, it's easy track. It's simple and you can't make up story. You might be lucky to have a manager that will just make you save face but most times it can lead to immediate termination. So just avoid it, because you can be tracked easily. Data retention policy, we're just saying for all our data that are stored, what is the process to retain them or archive those data? Many times, depending on the industry, healthcare, clinical research, financial, they have certain regulatory requirements to archive or keep or retain their data in general. Data backup and recovery, very important. Backup and recovery is part of the process. And it's not just backup and recovery, but also testing of those recovery processes periodically. Some years back, one of the banks I consulted for many years, they've been doing backup. Guess what? They were just lucky. We requested they should give us recovery test they've performed. Believe it or not, when they finally did, they realized all the data they've been backing up was never backed up. So you can imagine if there was an actual crisis and they needed to recover their data, oof, they would be in deep mess. They were lucky, that okay, the test we did forced them to go check all their data they've been backing up to see if it's actually recoverable. So now they started updating it. But imagine if it was when it was an actual crisis that they needed to recover their data. And this is a bank. You can imagine how much a pain and hell they will go through if that had happened in real time. User authentication, we can agree for every user before granting them access. If it's a critical system, you need to enable MFA. If you're on this call and you've never enabled your MFA for your WhatsApp, do it after this call immediately. Very important. One of the easy ways to compromise your WhatsApp or Facebook account. Data sanitization, you know, um, this is very important. Think about this for a second. Most of us that have printers, especially recent printers, they are so sophisticated that they store a lot of things in their cache, their memories. So when you dispose them, you might think, oh, well, I'm just done. No, they are storing information in their memory. So if you don't dispose it properly, it can be reverse engineered and your information extracted from it. And you and I agree that anytime you're printing stuff or faxing or scanning, mostly they're important information. So just be mindful. Okay. Don't just take your printer and just trash it for the trash for the week to be picked up. Make sure you sanitize it or else it could compromise important information. Logging and auditing, whatever system we use, one of the criteria is it should have audit log enabled. Code word, whatever you do, we want to be able to track it. Who is using it, the user ID, the name, the IP address, and the time stamp of what, when they did what and what was done. All the information we need to be able to track it for any system. Secure file transfer, for those of us in the medical field and any field, when you send personal health information, you need to go through a secure file transfer. Sometimes to zip a file, then send it with password protection, or there is actually a secure file transfer. There is actually a link that your organization has that you upload data, but it's a secure mean. This happened a lot for those of you that are applying for mortgages, underwriting, car note, or stuff like that. When they take your data, upload it, it goes through those secure file transfer. Vulnerability scan, we can agree all of us that for all those assets, digital devices, there should be a process to constantly scan them for vulnerabilities. Data classification, we need to know the sensitivity of all our data types because that would help us to prioritize how to scan them, how to provide oversight on them, what is confidential, what is internal, what is public, if it's government space, what is top secret, what is secret. So it gets into different layers and nuances of classification at that point in time. But the minimum, there are certain data that are public, right? For example, if we are putting information about our stores, out there, it's public. You know, we need to have those information so you can go to our stores. If we have information about certain new internal guideline on how to handle our customers, how to, build a better user experience, it's probably internal to our organization and our business. If we have information about our, yearly projection, if it's not publicly traded, then those financial information will be probably confidential. If we have strategy information, if we have any intellectual property information, those will probably be confidential, right? So everybody is different. Threat detection and responses, meaning how do we track threats internally and externally? So most environment will use tools like SIM tools. They have intrusion detection system or intrusion prevention system. So, and these are just softwares anyway. So the popular ones for SIM, there is the open source Wazoo, there is Splunk, there is QRadar, Exabeam, vendors out there that most people deploy. If I'm not, fancy, I don't have enough funding for the big names, I use Wazoo, a popular open source out there. So many people use different tools out there. Cloud security, because we know most environments are deploying to the cloud. Either they're using Azure, AWS, Google Cloud, Alibaba, GoDaddy, whatever cloud solution they use, or Oracle Cloud. At the end of the day, what is the security around it? What's the privacy around it? And those will be the big ones in general. Then encryption around it, access control around it, it's going to be the same. Then how often do you audit the process around the cloud? There's one called key management, key rotation management. So the security keys, how do you make sure that protection is around it too? The way you share those keys within the cloud. And that's really the gist around it. Of course, security is security, right? It's similar to what we've done before. But let me